Hey, Chrissy here. I am a landscape architect and the owner of Kismet Design. I am a very process-driven designer, and I love sharing what I do and how I do it with anyone who's interested. Reaching your true potential and achieving your own personal goals will not happen by chance. You have to set your intentions, make a plan, and do the work. Thank you for joining me to nerd out on design. Don't forget to subscribe and to share too. Let's create something great together. I have all kinds of new things to share with all of you today. Just a few weeks ago, I had the amazing opportunity to fly out to Washington, D.C. to speak to the local APLD chapter. I've connected with a few of them and stalked a few others on Instagram over the years, but getting the opportunity to meet in person was amazing. Thank you, and a special shout out to Kelly of the Groundsmith Collective for introducing me to her peers, which prompted the entire opportunity. I really appreciate it, and I loved meeting with you. Hopefully, she'll be on the podcast soon. I presented two very different topics to the group. The first was designing with grades, which anyone who knows me knows that I could nerd out on math and grading and drainage for more than just the hour that I was able to pare it down for the group. The second topic is a topic that I feel very passionate about. I've touched on it specifically in a few episodes, but if you listen closely, it is woven into most of what I do. That topic is leading the design process and being confident and courageous in pursuing your career as a designer and following your passion. I have a couple different passion projects right now that I've made some solid headway on since I mentioned it last. First of all, there are some downloads available on my website. That was really prompted by the Designing with Grades presentation because I really wanted to make sure that I had one of those documents specifically available to anyone that wanted it. And then I also have my yearly planning workbook, along with that Excel worksheet for calculating grades, and I have a hardscape tip sheet available. I have received some really great responses to those that have received them already, and I plan to add a few more to the availability list. Not sure when that'll happen though, but stay tuned. Next is the designer kits. These are just in time for the holidays and are a great purchase for any designers in your life, or maybe you want to put it on your Christmas wish list. I love all the goodies included in these. I had so much fun putting them together. Probably a little too much fun. Also, some of my favorite book recommendations. One of the kits has one of my all-time favorite books, which you'll hear about. I'm sure I've mentioned it before, but it is great. It is one of my favorites. But all of the other books that I have on there have a link. So if you want to purchase them through Amazon, you can. The kits and the downloads are all purchasable through my website. And then next on the docket is the course that I'm creating. I've been working on the Hardscapes 101 course, and that should be available soon. I've made some really solid headway on it, and the long flight from Washington, D.C. certainly helped. So be sure to add yourself to the email list to receive an update when it opens. And all of this to say how grateful I am for the design community. I honestly wasn't really initially very sure who would listen to the podcast and how much interest and value would even be generated. I love teaching and I love sharing, and I feel like I have a very unique experience in some of the mentorship and education that I was able to have as a very young baby designer. And the podcast has been a really great experience in honing what I am most passionate about and being able to serve the design community and share some of those experiences and share some of the knowledge that was bestowed upon me. So I very much appreciate the support that I have received, and I do not take it lightly. Even just tuning in to listen, you are giving me your precious time, and I really appreciate it. And I look to continue to provide more topics and products that I can offer to bring value to your businesses and help you achieve even greater success. As I begin my yearly analysis as the year winds down, and yes, I do use my yearly planning worksheet to do this, I have added a section to it specifically around the designer shop and the podcast. So if there's something that you would like to see or someone you would like to hear from, please, please, please reach out. And I hope to bring more and more collaborators into the podcast to share their passions and expertise with all of you. There's only so much value I can provide on my own. And there's so much experience and so much expertise out there that I really would love to share. Many designers work solo and do not always have the opportunity to collaborate. But there are so many valuable lessons to be learned and shared, and so many people that are willing to share them. And I really want to create a platform by which designers can rely on to find support and knowledge, especially for new designers. Sometimes you don't even know what you don't know yet when you're a new designer. Even the simplest tips can be a game changer for someone new in their business. A funny one that happened recently when I was meeting with a fellow designer who is very, very new into the industry. She has been asking some really fantastic questions and has shadowed me a bit and been very proactive about seeking advice and mentorship. I really admire her audacity, and I'm very confident that she will find great success. The funny part, though, and yes, she gave me permission to share the story, she brought in some site measurements for me to review and assist with her in creating her base plan. The measurements were only partially completed, though, because it started to rain. And so she had to stop because all of her measurements taken in pen had started to bleed all over her paper. I held my tongue for a bit, but I couldn't let her leave my office without suggesting that next time she should use a pencil instead of a pen, because pencil won't run in the rain, and at least with a pencil, her measurements would remain legible. I know it sounds simple, but sometimes what seems so simple and so obvious to someone that's been in the industry for a while isn't to someone that's new. My first site measurements were over 20 years ago. This was her first site measurement, and although we laughed about it, I think it's important to say that it is okay to be a newbie. We have all been there. When it comes to leading your design process with confidence, it's not a destination, but it's something that is dynamic and it builds with experience over time. We were all once that new designer that didn't even consider if it would make a difference to use pen or pencil. Sometimes we have to work and build our experience with no confidence, but with courage instead, until the experience and development of processes and systems help us to build that confidence. Being able to share tips and tricks and experiences are what help everyone achieve greater things faster and not have to go back out and take site measurements a second time. So be sure to check out the new offerings on the Designer Shop. The link is in the show notes, along with a discount code to all of my beloved podcast listeners. And I would love for you to share a funny when I was a newbie story and tag the Process Driven Designer on Instagram. I look forward to hearing all of your tips. And I hope that you also reach out and let me know if there's a topic or a person that you would like to hear about, or even if there's something that you think I should add to the Designer Shop. I would love your input. Bye-bye for now. To wrap up, I want to thank you for your time. I hope the ideas discussed today have left you feeling excited and energized. As I build both my business and my life, I value the support and feedback you provide. I would love for you to reach out to me to let me know what you think, give me ideas, or just to connect. Please don't forget to subscribe and also share with a friend. Until next time, go create something wonderful.